Before we start, I would like to remind you of our idea that we are talking about digitization of economy, which is very important, and the government is going forward to it. But the idea is how far it is moving, or how will it be moving. So we said that we will do a large group of workshops at different levels. One we called it level 0, where we say that why we are doing this and where we are putting or looking at the best practices, and then we will have the horizontal aspect where we'll talk about the information and the organizational framework and anything related to governance, and then we will talk about the next level, which is also horizontal but in a different way, where we will be talking about how to start a business, property registration, and or some indicators or some types of government services where we have many problems, as long as it is not related to a certain sector, so we are putting it on its own because it's somehow horizontal. And also we have the sectoral part, which is talk about education sector, banking sector, agriculture and transformational industries. And the objective is that our problem here in Egypt, as usual, is that we don't go into details, we don't focus on details, we just take a big look and come with background results, and then we stay talking about the general until we pump into the wall, so that we have to ask the same questions. What are the initiatives that the government is doing? How will it do it? How to do it in the right way, and where is the gap, and where we are going, and who is responsible. So, and we have to put all of this together in a research agenda, which will be very detailed. It's not only a research agenda, it will have something, it will prove many things, or it will expose many things. We did the first session the last time, in which we talked about the introduction, and we said that why we are looking at it from a mere governmental perspective, because the government is the one that does the 3/4 of the actions in economy. So we have to see, when we talk about the banking sector, we will not be only talking about the CBE or public banks. We are talking about the government decisions that affect the financial sector as a whole. So this is the second workshop, and we have specific dates for all the workshops, so you will find it, and it's on the website. So our today's workshop, we are still at level 0, in which we talk about the best international practices and the best international practices. And I am really happy here to have 3 speakers. The first one, I'm really happy to have you, Dr. Mohamadou Labarang, the ambassador of Cameroon in Cairo, and he is the non-resident ambassador in Lebanon, Sudan, and also previous ambassador in Saudi Arabia, Emirat, Qatar, Yemen, and Iran. So how come you don't speak Arabic after being an ambassador to all these countries? So you are a resident ambassador, but still you were non-resident in other countries. So I am happy that your Arabic is good, and he was also the general secretary in the government of Cameroon, and he is also the permanent representative of Cameroon in the OIC, and he is also the governor at the IDP and the executive director of the IDP, and he has a PhD in political science in Nanterre, Paris. And also with His Excellency the Ambassador, we have Engineer Said. He is the business development in IBM Egypt, and he also was the head of many positions. He held many positions, just like McKinsey and Company, Felix Electronics, Sweden Electric, and the Logic Consultancy, and he has 12 years experience in different operational consultancies and strategies. And he brought with us his IBM experience in different countries. And also we have Engineer Ahmed Al-Latifi. He is the IT advisor in the financial services and the different mobile applications, and he also works with the basic education development and digital economy in Egypt. and he is a consultant to Agility International Company, and he has a master's in business administration in Maastricht in Netherlands. So I really welcome all of them, and I would like to start with His Excellency the Ambassador to tell us the experience or the pilot, the leading experience of Cameroon in the digitization of economy. Shukran. Thank you. Allow me to speak English, please.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. It's my honor to address you this morning and to talk to you about the experience that we had in my embassy of Cameroon in Egypt. As you know, one of the challenges that our countries in Africa face is the leap from the usual classic administration to the e-governments. It is a trend. People talk about e-government. Some governments try really to implement. Some do not even think about it. But it is something that we all need to address. You need, in that case, a vision, but you need also to have, to devise a strategy to achieve what you want to achieve. Cameroon is a country in Central Africa. Our history is that we were first colonized by the German, and then after the First World War, Cameroon was divided between French and the British. So we inherited two systems of administration. Conducting the public activities in this kind of environment, of course, brings so many challenges. For those who know the French administration, you know that everything in the French system is a rigid system. You have to go from bottom to up, from up to bottom. And for the British administration, which they call the indirect rule, the possibility is given to the local population to govern themselves and to bring in ideas that the government will try to structure. So here we are, we inherited these two administrations when we acceded to independence in 1960. So for our government is how do we devise an administration which is efficient and which also would take care of both systems that we have. It's not an easy task. If you take the, constitutionally, what we did is we created, a federal government. Means that we have two separate governments, the Western Cameroon and Eastern Cameroon. Western Cameroon was the British one. Eastern Cameroon was the French one. Each government had their own government. They have their own parliament, and they have the prime minister and everything. And then you have overall the federal government, which takes care of, the whole country. It reveals to itself to be very cumbersome, very costly, inefficient. So we eventually evolved to become one united Cameroon. So it makes it really important that we find a way to migrate from the classic administration to the new strand and what we call e-government. And for us, e-government was like something to save our country from the difficulties that we have. So the government decided to go into the e-government, but as you know, it's something very, very difficult. First, to devise, and second, to implement and follow success. It so happened that in my previous assignment, I was in charge of the administrative reform. I was in charge of the General State Inspectorate of the country, but also the administrative reform. That gave me the possibility to really know where the problems are, how they present themselves, and to think and read and also make research to find a way to devise a new administration that could fit into our constitutional setup, but also be, in the trend of development. So when I was posted here in Cairo, of course, the embassy was following the classic, form of administration, but we had the urge to migrate to the e-government. But they say you have to do that, but they don't give you the clues. So here we are, we had the possibility to meet the team of Dr. Derballa, they came to present to us, a product that was that they have imagined, and they wanted to, sell to embassies. When I met them, I found that there is room here to do something better than what they wanted to sell, because I didn't want to go into provider and client relationship. It was a possibility for me, the opportunity to devise with them like a partnership, how we are going to, apply the technology to fit our requirements in our country. And I told them that, okay, I would not present anything to my government so far as I have not myself, participate in the tuning of it, and also that I'm satisfied that it complied to the requirement of our government. So we started a partnership for about 2 years and a half. We have been working together, my team in the embassy and their company, and we devised what we call the e-consulate, the virtual consulate, because the aim of an embassy, apart from the political and economic activities, is also to take care of the consular welfare of your citizens. Consular welfare means what? You have to give some services to your national, the Cameroonians that are here. You are about 1,000 something Cameroonians. And also you have to provide for the non-Cameroonians some services which are related to, visa facilities and the like. So our aim was to devise a new system that would take care of both. So, as you know, the classic way of doing things in the consulate, in most of our consulate, is human driven. You have the customer will come and present, some applications, and human being will look into that, and then after that, tell them, okay, it fits or doesn't fit, and then you deliver the certificate that they need. This, applicable in our countries, reveals here to be very difficult. Let's say you have somebody who's living in Maadi. My embassy is in Mohandisin. So they want, for example, to have a birth certificate. There are things that they have to bring to the embassy. They will be received there. One staff of the embassy will look into the documents, and those documents, have to abide by certain rules. If any small thing in the document is rejected, so they have to go back and then, bring back the same document again. They are to commit, and you know how it is. From Madi to Muhandisin, it's very, very difficult, to do it twice. Yes. So now you see here is the opportunity, because the customers themselves, they feel the need of changing. So that gave us the incentive to go into that. So now, one of the problems that also we face is that of corruption. When some people are in need of any administrative or any documents, they need it quickly. Sometimes they face people in front of them that are not very willing to do it, and they will try to bribe them and everything. This also is something that we have to tackle. And of course, for us as administration, there are necessity of archiving, necessity of documenting, and necessity of traceability of what we are doing. So we had to set to ourselves the digitization objectives. And we have to digitize the system itself. And I will tell you how it was before and how it is after the digitization, and what is the impact on our economy. So the consular services, as I said, service for Cameroonians. What do we have? We have service of Cameroon and then service to non-Cameroonians. For the Cameroonians, we have, for example, passport renewal. We have about 24, service that we give to them. And so we created this portal. When you click on, you go on our consulate portal, you click and it sends you on this page, which is, and if you are, because as I told you, Cameroon is English and French speaking, and by constitution we have to do it both French and English. So you click there, and it would ask you to bring in your registration number. Why did we do that? Anybody who would like to have any service at our embassy should be registered. That makes us, know exactly with whom we are working, that they are really Cameroonians, and that they abide by the rules that give us the possibility to give them the service in our embassy. So everybody receives one PIN, personal identification number, which will be the number that he will have to use if you want to have any service at our embassy. So if you don't, if you have not been registered, you have to register, and it sends you to this page where you do the registration and everything. So, and after that, you have all we'll see the flow of the work after. Now, can I go back to the? As for the non-Cameroonians, mainly it is visa, how to treat the visa applications. And there also, for us, was a very, very huge challenge. We used to process the visa applications the classical way, which means it is, all paperwork and, of course, also their source of, corruption, source of, time-consuming processes. So we devised this Cameroon e-visa. Of course, here, since it is intended not to Cameroonians, but to the non-Cameroonians, so we didn't have the urge to do it in French. So we had to do it in English and in Arabic, because most of the people who are going from here are, Arabic speaking. So you go there, you apply for your visa, and you have possibility to do it, in Arabic and in English. So that also, I'm going to show you how it got facilitated with us, because. So what are the objectives that we're following? To create a balance between granting and rejecting permits. Permits for the Cameroonians are, all the 22 kind of applications that I told you about, and for the non-Cameroonians, mainly we have the visa and the legalization of their documents. So the system that we wanted to set up had to also permit us to monitor the process in real time. As me, as ambassador of the council, have to be able to monitor this in this time, and also to assign specific tasks to specific people, so that we know exactly who did what and when it was done. So that account for the accountability for everybody who is in the system. So it was aimed to transform the system from reactive to proactive. What we say proactive is that now it is the customer, or I wouldn't say a client, a customer that has to put himself or herself all the data that is needed. It's not one member of the embassy that is doing that. It is their responsibility. The only thing what we do is we check if they comply with the regulations. If they do not comply, we recheck them, send them back, and they are the one to change it in the good format. So that also creates for us the possibility to avoid flooding our embassies and on consulates, because now you don't only come to the embassy when you receive an invitation, and this invitation is generated by the system. When you send your documents, they have been checked, they have been audited, we send you an email saying that, okay, your documents are ready, you could come at this time so that you can collect them. So it makes it compulsory that before you come, you have to get this invitation. And of course, by doing so, in the system, it allows us to control the influx of the collection of monies. This is one also of the objectives, to make things very transparent, and it is not, you don't pay on the ground. We have to pay it through the system, and traceability is there, who collected what at what time, and you'll see that also. So all this, leads to increasing the system transparency. So, virtual consulate, I think we've gone through this. So let us a little bit see what was done with the Cameroon e-visa. I've told you, shown you where the Cameroonians go when they want to put their application. Here I will show you what we could do ourselves to monitor the thing. Me as the administrator of the system, this is what I have to monitor the system. I can check who are the users who are now online. You see myself here. Somebody from the embassy is working on the system already. This is the consul, and also Mr. Ishaq is online. So, and from here, I can suspend if something happens, or I can even delete him from the system. So let's see, for example, so all these are the applications that people can put, and to the embassy. And when I open here, there is nothing, ambassador's application. It means that, I have access to everything. And let's see officer application. Okay, now, as ambassador, I have this tab that gives me the possibility to see what are the documents that need my attention. So you see, let's go here, laissez-passer. So it means that this chap has introduced an application to receive a laissez-passer. It means he doesn't have the passport, but he needs to travel. Now, it has gone through the system, and everything is okay. I have to go to permit, but I can check. I can go and check. Yeah. So, what did he submit? I have this is his birth certificate, to be sure that he's really Cameroonian. To close. Okay. So this is his passport. I'll go in there and make it bigger so that I can control. You see.
The media takes the picture.
Yes. So. So anyway, and of course I have his picture. I can really verify. You see the one. Okay. but for me to be able to really give my permission, I have to make sure that it is the guy. So I have to come here and choose his picture. That makes me, it means that I'm sure that I'm the one who did that and have gone through the document. But all this is just to tell you how the mastering of the process, it gives you, the comfort that what you do, you know what you are doing. And if, for me, the most important also is the reports, because I can do, for example, let's say, as I told you, if you want to know who paid, what they pay, to whom they paid, we have to be able to do it, streamlined, with no problem. So we go here. Let's say from 2007, 1st January. Okay, to date. To today. So what did we? Financial. So you see, it generated exactly, and I know for passport, this is what we got, for laissez-passer and everything. So easy and very straightforward. And the supervisors have to, for the supervisor, they have credentials. They cannot go do anything. We give them the credentials, what they have to do. And after that, we can find who did what. So before the system was set, everything was fuzzy. You know, you don't know with whom you are working, for whom you are working, and you don't know what is going out from the system. It was a reactive system, human-based system, lack of security, of course, no time planning, difficulty in archiving documents. Now, after we have clear defined processes, as I showed you, proactive system, because now it is the client who puts himself the data and is responsible. We don't mingle with that. Process-driven system, which means that any staff of the embassy do not know in advance which document or which application is going. It is randomly presented by the system. So now we avoid, you know, any corruption tendency, because nobody knows which file they are going to treat. See, of course, and for me, it gives me possibility to monitor everything everywhere I am. Be it in New York or everywhere, I log into the system and I can give the directive and also give any change that is so, and also most important, electronic archiving. So this is what we did in our embassy, based on the information and the directive that we received from the government. Now, what are the advantages that our country would get from digitizing all our embassies? Of course, it increases the number of tourists that will be visiting in our country, and the spending, of course, create additional jobs in service of tourism sector, increase the contribution of tourism to the travel industry, improve the image of the country, because this system that we have put, for those who have already, for example, applied for visa going to the States, you will see that our system is more, is simpler than the system, because we don't call you first to come and interview, and then you go and you wait for two weeks. We check if we think that the document is okay. We are not in the list, the blacklist that we have. You just only come and we get your visa directly, so from the embassy. So for us, we consider this a success story. Because it has enabled us to really master this system, and our government is envisaging to expand it to all our embassies outside, and also to use the same system in our internal, development of e-governance. So this is what we did, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Dr. Darbala, because we did it, for a long time, about 3 years. They are coming in the embassy, and we'll fine-tune it, and then we make sure that it suits our constitutional and regulatory framework in our country. And now we have a final product that is now about to be expanded in the whole of Cameroon administration. Thank you very much.